So I'm going to show you this video. I think you might just want to just jump right into it here real fast. But this is Turd Flinging Monkey, and he's responding to PragerU. He had some pretty classic fights with Dennis Prager back in the day. Yeah, just chill the fuck out. I'll get to that. What, you don't want another Bonnie Blue video? I'm going to fuck 800 guys. I'm going to fuck 1,000. All right, here we go. This, I don't think I have ever seen a better example of the responsibility without authority being slavery. In fact, this is actually where that saying comes from, as far as I know. So let's just get into it. I'm going to riff on this a little bit, but I'm going to let him cook for a bit.
Hey everyone, this is Turd Flinging Monkey, and today we have something special. We're visiting our old friend Dennis Prager at PragerU.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
All right, well, let's get started.
Murder, war. They all have one thing in common. Men. Aggression, violence, ambition unchecked by conscience, all the stuff of toxic masculinity, right? And the solution is obvious. Make men less toxic. Make men less masculine. Make men more like women. But I'm here to tell you that that way of thinking is not only wrong, it's dangerous.
All right, so far so good. I honestly don't disagree with anything she just said. I've talked about the same problem myself. Maybe PragerU's turning over a new leaf. Maybe they've recognized the importance of male authority, patriarchy, ready to take women's rights away. Maybe the traditionalists are waking up and they're going to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. Let's continue.
Here's why. When you try to make men more like women, you don't get less toxic masculinity. You get more. Why? Because bad men don't become good when they stop being men. They become good when they stop being bad. Aggression, violence, and unbridled ambition can't be eliminated from the male psyche. They can only be harnessed. And when they are harnessed, they are tools for good, not for harm. The same masculine traits that bring destruction also defeat tyranny. The traits that foster greed also build economies. The traits that drive men to take foolish risks also drive men to take heroic risks.
Wow, so I'm actually really impressed. I don't disagree with anything that's being said, but I have a feeling, that there's a but coming. But let's continue.
The answer to toxic masculinity isn't less masculinity. It's better masculinity. And we know what that looks like. It's a young man opening the door for a girl on their first date. It's a father working long hours to provide for his family. It's a soldier risking his life to defend his country.
Okay, so the answer to toxic masculinity is men taking responsibility, right? And I'm fine with that. Look, I've talked about someone has to be responsible. The problem is if you're going to make men responsible for women, for families, for society, there has to be authority attached to that responsibility. This is where the traditionalists really just trip. This is where they just completely screw up. The problem is, in order to have a functional system, and we all agree, men are responsible for women, they are responsible for society, they are responsible for families. That's what a functional society looks like. But you can't then say men and women are equal, take men's authority away, give it to women, say that men and women are partners, but men continue to need to be responsible for women. That doesn't make any sense. You have to have responsibility and authority together, or it doesn't work. So all this talk about good men, good masculinity. Okay, you want men to be responsible. Are you going to give them authority? If you want men to be responsible for women, if you want men to hold open doors, fight in wars, save babies from burning buildings, there has to be something attached to that. Men aren't just selfless, servile robots that just die at your whim because it feels good. If you want them to be responsible, you have to give them authority. You take their authority away, men are going to walk away because there's nothing in it for them. You've taken the carrot away. All you have is the stick. And eventually you keep hitting a dog with a stick, he's going to fucking snap at you.
The growing problem in today's society isn't that men are too masculine. It's that they're not masculine enough. When men embrace their masculinity in a way that is healthy and productive, they are leaders, warriors, and heroes.
Okay, so I agree with this part, but where's the authority? So this is what's interesting. She admits that men who embrace their masculinity are leaders. Being a leader implies authority because you're leading people. People are following you. You have authority over the people that you're responsible for. So it's like, this is what I don't get about traditionalists. They know that men have to have authority. They know it. They know it. I know you agree with me. I know in your heart of hearts, you agree with me. The problem is you can't say it because of my elections, my female voters, and all this other crap. But you know it's true. You know men have to have authority over women, over families, and over society. Call it traditional family values, call it the nuclear family, call it whatever the hell you want. It's called patriarchy. Without patriarchy, traditionalism doesn't work. Without male authority, male responsibility doesn't work. You have to have both. And she...
All right, hang on one second. Let me chime in here a little bit. There we go. So up to this point, pretty much everything I've been saying, really. But the thing about patriarchy, the thing about authority, like as I was saying, when I said men do not owe women a better life, right? So if that's the case, if you're going to say no, men do owe women a better life, okay. Are you willing to take women's rights away? Are you willing to, I hate to go repeal the 19th because I don't think that that's tenable right now. I think it's kind of a dead end argument, but let's just say for sake of arguments here. Are you willing to take rights away? Because essentially what you're saying is if you want to say, and again, I hope this can be the last fucking word on all of this. It won't be, but I hope it can. So whenever I have to deal, or whenever if you have to, you're involved in this, whenever you have to deal with traditional, especially trad females, right? It's not even so much men. Men will just get on, will jump on the horse because the women are, they want to say, yeah, well, they're basically white knighting for trad femmes. But when women come out and say, well, women will be better. What about the men? What about the guys? What was it? The Lily Phillips thing? Like when they thought that Lily Phillips was going to have some sort of like religious conversion because she was crying in that documentary about having, about going through with a 24 hours of fucking 100 guys, right? And, people kind of jumped on her case saying, oh, what a degenerate, what a 304, what a whatever. But when she started like crying a little bit and showing a little bit of compassion or whatever, that's when women said, what about those guys? There's 100 of those guys. It's their fault. It's the guys who are rubbing it out on OnlyFans. That's their fault. They drove her to this. And there's no accountability. Like, you can't hold a woman. If men are responsible for the sins of women, then you cannot hold them accountable. So all these accountability shows, all this shit on whatever podcast, Fresh and Fit, my podcast, whoever you think is a Kevin Samuels, he holds these bitches accountable, right? He tells them like it is, right? Well, you're average at best, right? That was holding them accountable back in 2022. And it's not, it's you craving comeuppance. It's you craving somebody. It's men living vicariously through Kevin Samuels saying the things they wish they could to these women. That's really what it comes down to. It's not really an accountability. But okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay. Let's just say it is accountability. Why do it at all? Because women cannot be held accountable. If it's my fault that women act the way they do because I'm a man and she's a woman, if it's my fault for that, then holding her accountable is pointless because she's sinless. Her sins are my sins. Because if I drove her to those behaviors as a man, and I said, you know what, I'm going to invent this thing called OnlyFans, and so chicks can go and become multi-gajillionaires in the process. Oh, and then I'm going to take that money too, right? then what's the point of anything? What's the point of the shows? What's the point of any of this shit? If women cannot be if we're our sisters' keepers, then why even use the word accountability? And I'll tell you why, because nobody believes that bullshit. That's why. If you the other tenet, I should say, of traditional conservatism is personal responsibility. What is it? Is it her responsibility or is it my responsibility? Free will. Okay. Do women have free will? Do they have real agency? Or is my will her will? Does anything, and again, does it have to be sexual? What if she kills somebody? What if she commits a crime? Is it my, oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I couldn't stop her from, a DUI manslaughter. I just couldn't do it. Sorry, put me in jail. Is that gonna be the thing? Is that what we base our judicial system on? Now, granted, women get far more lenient sentences than men, so we've already got that factored in. But the thing is if that's the case, then all this shit is moot. All this, and the thing, it's only in the sexual. It's only when, like, we wouldn't say the same thing of any other crime. We wouldn't say the same thing. Like, well, how about this? What, it doesn't have to be a crime. What if I say, well, my wife started her own business and she's now a multimillionaire, but she's not, because I'm the one that has her agency and her best intentions in mind. And so any success, accountability can be failure and success. So she's accountable for the success of turning, like a profit on a little company into a multi-million-dollar company. But guess what? Because I'm the husband and I'm responsible for her, guess what? I'm the one that actually created that. How's that? How would you like that? If I took the credit for her becoming a multimillionaire because she has no agency. And so therefore her successes aren't her successes, they're my successes, because I was a good enough, more responsible man, and I'm the one that put her up to it. So do I get the credit for that? Fuck no, I don't get the credit for that. Because she did it herself. She took it upon herself to go and do that stuff. Her successes are hers. Unless it's a fucking sexually degenerate chick, and then it's men's fault. Then we want guys to be better. And if guys aren't measuring up to this chick who's 34 years old, who is single as a Pringle, wants men to be more intentional, more emotionally intelligent, and to get out there and ask her out on a date or something like that, or to be purpose driven or something, then we have this accountability discussion. Then when it becomes a woman's problem, it becomes men solving women's problems. And the presumption is that men owe women a better life. When that's the premise that we're actually debating, or we're debating accountability about, then suddenly it's men's fault. Any other situation, anytime you can contextualize that in some other way, especially in success, if I'm going to say I'm responsible for her success, yeah, because I'm the man. She can't make her own decisions. So fuck you. I'm the one that made the millions and not her. It was awesome, man. I guess I'm just married the right chick and I'm a good influence on her. Do I get the millions? Am I responsible for it? Should I go get the fucking trophy at the award show for it? No, nobody in their fucking right mind is going to say that. But when it comes to getting your wet, then shit changes. So let's just cut the bullshit about agency and responsibility and all this other crap. It used to be that way. Like, women would say, well, we could never own property. We were just chattel. No, under coverture laws, women could actually own property. They could inherit businesses. They could inherit land. They could actually start their own fucking businesses if they wanted to. The thing is under coverture laws, if a woman married a man, all of those businesses now became the purview of the man, of the husband. Why? Because those coverture laws implied that the man was, in fact, responsible for the actions of the woman. So if that woman commits a crime or makes the company go bankrupt, or is responsible for, selling the land or something like that, it's not her, it's him, because he's the husband. And that's how it worked. Women under the old ways, under the coverture laws, had more freedom and had more ability to maneuver and had more agency and more power outside of marriage than they did inside of marriage. Now we've flipped that script. Men today have more maneuverability, more power, more agency, more ability to control their lives, more decision-making ability in their lives outside of marriage than inside of marriage. And if you want guys to get married, change the fucking laws, change the way we do marriage. I was going to do a show with him too. I really want to get Jim Sexton in here, but Jim called me up last week and he told me about this situation with a prenup, right? Because he's really big about prenuptial, arrangements. Like, so what was? I'll just give you the loose, quick version of this. Is he had a guy who was worth about $10 million in finance. I don't know, about 6 foot trust fund, whatever, but in finance, and was poor. He's standing to make 30 million next year, right? I mean, the guy's on his game when it comes to money, but when it comes to chicks, you know what the fuck he's doing. So the guy's in his mid 30s, as I said, and that's when you hit your stride, right? And he's involved with this 25-year-old chick who is like stunningly fucking hot, man. And he's like, I think I want to marry this chick, but I need her to sign a prenup so that my money is sort of protected, yada, yada. It's what any wise guy would do, right? Okay, she was even cool with it. The 25-year-old girl was okay with the prenup, but she had to present the prenup to a lawyer, to her lawyer. And what her lawyer does is now he rewrites the prenup to favor her. And so now women, when they're presented with a prenup or even the prospects of a prenup, they're now like a hot girl who has like money from OnlyFans or whatever else. She's saying, "Oh yeah, I kind of want to marry this guy. He's worth $10 million. He's probably going to be worth 30 million pretty soon. I'm okay with the prenup as long as it favors me." And so what happened is he was showing me the stuff, like the list of the laundry list of things the guy can get dinged for, like 15,000 for a blowjob. And I mean, they went down to the really nitty gritty details of this. And so essentially, if the guy ever cheats or if there's a dissolution of the marriage, he's got to pay her. It's a divorce settlement that's already written into the prenup that favors her, and probably would favor her more so if she got divorced in the first, if she had to go to litigation for divorce litigation. So essentially all the prenup is it's a divorce settlement that's already preset for the guy if the guy fucks up, not her. And I'm just like, that is some fucking top tier fucking espionage, man, on the part of women. But that's where we're at. And so when people say, Rollo, you're so against marriage, I'm not against the institution of marriage. I keep saying I've been married for 28 years. Clearly, I'm not against marriage, but I'm against the way we do it now. You know what I'm against? I'm against fucking writing prenups as if they're like preemptive divorce settlements. That's what I'm against. I'm against this idea I'm even against the idea of claiming responsibility for my wife's successes. Okay. That whole thing but I also think that if it's, I've said before, I'm not against women's having the right to vote. I want my daughter to have the right to vote. I want my wife to have the right to vote. I think they should. I think they're intelligent enough to make good decisions. And maybe I'm influencing that. Maybe I'm helping them along, and maybe I'm not. Maybe they're just simply smart enough to figure shit out on their own. Okay, fine. You're not going to take the vote away from them, but you know what I want? I want them to take a responsibility like a fucking adult, take responsibility for their own actions. So I'm okay with women having agency. I want them to have agency. It's great. Fine. Go do whatever you do. You. I want women to have the same level of the same standard of justice that men have. I don't want women to get more lenient sentences for the same fucking crimes if a man committed it than a woman committed it. That is a separate standard of justice. I want women to be able to vote. Great. But I also want them to take accountability for the shit that comes down for the votes that they put in. They don't want, because then what happens? The narrative switches and says, well, if men were better, then women would be better. Fuck you. If you're going to give them that agency, if they are independent, sentient human beings, then guess what? You're not your sister's fucking keeper. And they have to take that responsibility and they have to take that accountability, because I'll tell you right now, the way that it stands and the way that Turflinging Monkey is talking right here is men don't have any authority to enforce the responsibilities that conventional masculinity puts on them. That's what he's going to talk about here in a second. Let's go back in.
He's admitting this right here by calling men leaders. I agree. Men who take responsibility are leaders. But imagine trying to be a leader without authority. The hell does that even look like? It's like if you take authority away from parents, they can't raise their kids. Why? Because you require authority to be a leader, to be a parent. When you're put into a position of responsibility, you need authority over that which you are responsible for. It is that simple and fundamental. You simply cannot separate authority from responsibility.
When they deny their
Okay, hold on one second. I have one thing I wanted to add that I sort of make this a little more complete. When we're talking about leadership, well, you need to be leaders and warriors and what bastions of enterprise. If you want men to step up and be leaders, that implies hierarchy. Women organize society in the round. Men organize society in strata, in hierarchies. Okay, there's the CEO, the CFO, the COO, and then on down to the janitor, right? Chain of command, right? There's the admiral and the general and the lieutenant, and I'm going to butcher this all the way down to the private, right? That is authority. If you want men to be responsible and you want them to be leaders and you want all this other stuff, you have to, by necessity, accept a hierarchical way of organizing society. That's how it works. If that's the case, if you want, we need men to be leaders, that's bullshit. They don't want them to be leaders. You know why I know that? Because they won't let men organize so that they could do that in the first place. Because when men organize, they organize in hierarchies. That's just natural. The natural way of, that's just how men are, right? We organize in team captains. We organize in CEOs, CFOs. Well, that's how we do it. So if you want male leadership, you're going to have to accept a hierarchy in a marriage. There is God, and then there's the man, and then there's the woman, and then there's the children, and then there's the dogs. And it goes in that order. If you're going to rearrange any of that, you're no longer asking that man to be a leader. So there you go.
masculinity, they run away from responsibilities, leaving destruction and despair in their wake.
Men aren't the ones who stripped their authority away. Feminism did. And who's going to restore it? Nobody's talking. Like, I'm the only one on this hill talking about taking women's rights away and restoring male authority. No one is talking about this. That is the problem. The only answer from the right is that men need to take responsibility. And when men say, well, why should I take responsibility if I don't have authority? They just say, stop being toxic. Stop being a misogynist. Just, you have to take responsibility. It's what men do. Fuck you. Very simple thought experiment. If you own a business, you are the sole proprietor of that business. You will work 60, 80, 100-hour weeks in order to make sure that business succeeds because it's your business. Now, if you were simply an employee of that business and your boss asked you to work a 60, 80, 100-hour week for no additional pay because he really needed the help, you tell him to go fuck himself. And why? Because it's not your business. You don't own it. You don't have the authority over the business. You don't own the profits of the business. He does. So he can do the long hours. It's his business. So you took authority away from men in the name of gender equality. Now women are on all kinds of antidepressants. The fertility rate is dog shit. The West is being flooded with immigrants from Africa and the Middle East, and they're running people over with trucks apiece. What are you going to do about it? Well, come on, man. Can you work these 60, 80, 100-hour weeks? Oh, we could really use the help over here. Well, are you going to give me authority over this business that you want me to help out? Well, no, we're not going to give you authority. That wouldn't be fair. But can you just contribute vastly more?
Hell no. Come on, wait till the no.
Okay, I gotta scrub through here because this will give me a copyright strike. There we go.
If you want men to take charge, if you want men to be leaders, if you want men to be responsible, give up your fucking rights. Submit to the patriarchy. It's that simple. If you're not willing to submit, then fuck you. I'm not going to take care of your dumb ass. You want to be equal? Go be equal. Go take care of your own shit. Oh, you can't? Oh, you need men to take care of you? Well, then submit. Bow down. No? Then fuck you. You see how this works? Are you going to be part of the solution? You're going to be part of the problem. If all you have is shame and bullshit, go fuck yourself.
The consequences can be seen everywhere. 1 in 4 fathers now lives apart from his children. And children who grew up without a dad are generally more depressed than their peers who have a mother and a father. They are at far greater risk for incarceration, teen pregnancy, and poverty. 71% of high school dropouts are fatherless.
That's not the fault of men rejecting their responsibilities. That's 100% the fault of feminism. Who created the family courts? Who created the Duluth model? Irresponsible men rejecting their manly responsibilities? No, fuck that shit. Women did this. Feminism did this. Shaming men into taking responsibility when nothing is being done about the actual cause is absolute bullshit. Look, there's a disease. There's a disease called female empowerment. It is killing the West. It isn't just killing America and in the UK. It's killing Western civilization as a whole. Female empowerment is fucking cancer. Putting the burden of responsibility onto men is complete bullshit. Because once women were given voting rights, they became the majority of voters. Women outlive men. Women don't go to war and die. They work cushy jobs and they don't die on the work site. There's always going to be more women than men in any sort of healthy society. Throw in wars and so forth, then you have vastly more women than men. I can't think of a natural situation where men would outnumber women except the one-child policy in China, where parents deliberately drowned their daughters because they could only have one child, so they wanted a son that would take care of them in old age. Aside from those artificial constraints, there's going to be more women than men in almost any society. Now, once you appreciate that fact, you appreciate the fact that we have universal suffrage in a democratic society, women run the government. So how are men supposed to fix anything? The men's rights activists have been trying to fix the laws for 100 years. They haven't gotten shit changed. The laws have only gotten worse. They're getting worse by the year. Every year. Feminists demand more laws that empower women at men's expense. And what does the right do? What is the right doing to stop this? Nothing. Nothing. You're just blaming men, telling them they need to take responsibility. You're not doing anything to actually solve the real problem, which is female empowerment. You can't fix this problem by convincing men to just suck it up and walk proudly into the slaughterhouse. Men are waking up. This is complete bullshit. So either fix the problem or Allahu Akbar, prepare for the collapse. You're going to lose your rights either way. Either Western men are going to take your rights away or Muhammad will. One of them's going to do it.
Of all
Okay, let me chime in here right quick. One of the things that I notice language quite a bit. So like when, and remember this is PragerU. They've been around for a while and they've been sort of like the TradCon, like McDonald's for a long time. And by the way, I see what you did here. This video is bringing me back to, actually this video is from 2015. Just, it goes back even further than that. So, that's how long Turd Flinging Monkey has been like at this shit. So, but no, I was going to say is, yeah, I'll let him cook. Don't worry. But I was going to say is, if you notice the wording there, fatherlessness. It's not single momminess. It's not like single mother, single parents. It's fatherlessness. And PragerU is not the only one that does this. I think what's funny is like for all of this emphasis on gender neutral language, like we will literally go and rewrite bylaws and constitutions and state legislature and like state constitution. They will go and rewrite political, documents to be, it's not fireman, it's firefighter, right? It's not mailman, it's mail carrier, right? Or it's like they try to make it the whole thing gender neutral until we get to this, and then it's fatherlessness, right? No, it's not. How about single family? If you wanted to make it neutral, it would be single parent home. It's not, and sure shit, never going to be single mother homes. That's never going to happen. So it's important to understand the language, even with people who you think you should agree with. Like if traditional conservative moralism, whatever you want to fucking call it, if that's your tribe, if that's what you identify with, you still owe it to yourself to watch and police the shit that these guys are doing. So let me what's this? No, it's okay. You don't have to. I'm not on Rumble right now. Is that what you were trying to do? YouTube will not let you buy a chat with Rumble 3 spelled correctly. Yeah, well, fine. I'm not on Rumble right now. Anyways, I'm only on YouTube. What if it's my show? I'm only going to be on YouTube usually. I mean, sometimes I mirror to Rumble. Let me let him
The
finish.
rocks upon which we build our lives, family is the most important. And we are called to recognize and honor how critical every father is to that foundation. That was said by then Senator Barack Obama in 2008. If we are honest with ourselves, he went on, we'll admit that too many fathers are missing from too many lives and too many homes. As much as we try to deny the need for real masculine strength in society, there's no denying its necessity. Healthy families and strong communities depend on the leadership and bravery of good men.
Again, leadership. Okay, you want men to be leaders. Great. If you want them to be leaders, you have to follow them. You have to give them authority. You have to submit to them. This is not rocket science.
Yet, the current trend is to feminize young men in the hopes of achieving some utopian notion of equality and peace. And it starts at the earliest ages. In the school classroom, boys are invariably the problem. On the playground, aggressive games like dodgeball have long been banished. We tell young men that their intrinsic desire to compete is wrong. Everybody gets a trophy. Don't run up the score. This anti-male tilt continues on through higher education and into the workplace. It has created millions of tentative men, unhappy women, and confused boys and girls. Here's a secret that every woman knows. Women want real men. Men they can count on and, yes, look up to.
Women want real men they can count on and look up to. So you want men to take care of you. Again, if women want men to be responsible for them, men have to have authority over women. If you want men to be responsible for families, then fathers need to have authority over their families. This isn't rocket science. I know I'm beating this dead horse, but she's saying right here, women want real men that they can count on and look up to. You don't look up to someone you're equal to.
Yep.
If you need a man to look up to, then you're admitting that you're beneath him. And if you're going to look up to him and you're going to count on him and he's going to be responsible for you, you goddamn better submit to him and give him authority over you. And what does that look like? You got to take away the family courts. You got to take away all those bullshit laws. Take women's right to vote away. All this fucking shit has to go.
No amount of feminist theory will change that. I don't know any woman at any age who is attracted to a passive man who looks to her to be his provider, protector, and leader. Every woman I know wants a strong, responsible man.
Every woman of every age wants a man to lead her. They want a man to be responsible for her. Great. Give up your rights. Starting with your right to vote. Give them up. All of it. We're rolling it all back. It's all gotta go. It's fucking Toys R Us up in this bitch. Everything must go. Give up all your rights, submit to the patriarchy, and then men will lead you. Oh, what's that? Oh, you want to keep your rights? Well, then fuck you. It's that simple.
That's not a consequence of a social construct or cultural pressure. It's innate. The devaluation of
I think it's fascinating that they're gonna, like, PragerU is gonna say it's innate, it's evolutionary, or is it? I love how fluidly the more religious moralists, well, certainly at PragerU, right, kind of fluctuate between like evolutionary psychology and their religious beliefs. And if it locks in with a religious belief, then they're all good with the things being innate, right? But if it doesn't, then we got a real problem there. So now we can just fall back on the evolution is bullshit, right? So